childhood up, we have had to conform to a certain social game. And so we're in a constant state of competition. Criticism, secret. You can't make a mistake.
Welcome, everyone, to Friends of Failure. I'm your host, Sam, and this is my co-host, Megan.
Heyo.
Today, we're going back to the basics. We're going to do a one-on-one together, and I don't know, we're just going to kind of touch base. We both recently started a podcast. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Yeah, and it's been a minute since it's just been us talking.
Yeah, it has actually. It seems like it's all going by really, really fast, but
yeah,
I definitely do feel, I don't know, time has been like a weird thing for me recently.
I feel like we just started this like a week ago, but it's been like a month or two. I don't know anymore.
Been 5 years. It's been 5 years. And here we are retiring on our
this is our last episode.
Do people retire from podcasts? Like, has anyone done that yet, where they're like, after 27 years we're retiring from our podcast?
That's going to be a new thing, because I don't think a generation has gotten there where podcasts have like been around for that long.
I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but the first thing I thought about was Good Mythical Morning, and like those two guys being like in their like 70s, being like, all right, guys, we just can't do this anymore. We're going to go ahead and sign out forever now. And people be like, no, dude, you guys did that for like, they've already been doing it for a decade, right?
They've been doing it longer than pretty much anyone else. Yeah.
Dude. And like, the thing is I've never really been big into podcasts, and it's mostly because laziness. I think like I haven't had a need for a podcast, right? Because I'm always listening to albums and whatever. But theirs was one that would always pop up like on YouTube, and so I'd click it, and dude, they'd be like, today we're trying chocolate pickles, and you're like, how am I supposed to not watch this? Like, oh my god. And of course, like, one of them is like, yeah, this is delicious, and the other one's like, oh, I'm allergic to pickles. And then, chaos ensues.
They complement each other well. I just love the irony, though, that you are making a podcast and you don't listen to podcasts.
What better person would do that? Because it's like there are people that when they go in the military, they get really excited whenever you go, yeah, I've never shot a gun before, because they go, okay, cool, we're going to teach you how to do it safely in the correct way. Where like, there'll be people who would be like, yeah, my dad gave me a shotgun when I was 7, and I just I don't know, I just point at stuff and I'd shoot it, and they'd be like, oh boy. Or like, I had a BB gun when I was like 8, and so I'm pretty much a sniper, and they're like, he's played too much Call of Duty. Oh god.
So we're hoping you don't have bad habits, because you don't even know what to expect. Yeah,
I don't have any bad, but I also don't have any good habits either. So a lot of failure creating a Friends of Failure podcast.
We've had plenty of difficulties.
It's, and I think it's interesting, because since we've started this, I have thought a lot more about where can I go and fail, and not like in a negative way, but in a way of, hey, where could I have failure happen to me and gain experience in something, right?
I'm just imagining you like purposely messing things up and being like, whoops.
Yeah, I'm on the side of the freeway with a flat, and I'm like, this is a perfect time to have a failure changing a tire, and I like fling
into moving traffic.
I have a full-size jack, and I just throw it into traffic. No, but it has been interesting. I had a couple of friends that have you heard of the 75 hard challenge?
No.
So I had a couple of friends that did it. Like, they did the full 75 days, and like they were using it on their social media to like kind of talk about it, and they're in the fitness world. So it's kind of like a way to, hey, let's get motivated. Let's, we're community. And I was like, that's awesome. But I also was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, that seems a lot, right?
It's a bit much.
So, my buddy, who we had on the show, Tim, was telling me like, hey dude, I'm going to do this challenge. Have you heard of it? And I go, actually I have. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was like, great, good luck with that. Like, if you need anything, I'm here to support you. Right. So I'm telling my brother about it a week later, and I'm going, yeah, dude, like, Tim's going to do the 75 hard. And like, before I even like talk about what it is, my brother's like, F it, we should do that. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. Who cares? Whatever. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. That's not what this. And then next thing I know, we're doing it. Like we're on day like 13, I think, and it's 75 days. That's why it's called 75 hard. But you know, you're supposed to follow like a diet. You're supposed to have like 2 workouts a day, 1 indoor, 1 outdoor. Like some of them will say like you should take a progress picture every day. And so after the 75 days, you can look back and go, oh wow, like cool, whatever. Water intake, you have a required amount every day. But like what's crazy is there have been multiple opportunities where I could have failed already.
Yeah.
Because like no alcohol, right? You're not supposed to go and eat fast food. But me and my brother had to call each other out because I think we both had like a miter, like McChicken nugget addiction, where like once a week it'd be like, hey man, you want to go get like a 20 piece and we'll just split it. And it'd be like, how am I supposed to like talk to like clients and stuff as a personal trainer being like, yeah, I'm addicted to McChicken nuggets?
I feel like we just need to play Alanis Morissette. It's like
Isn't it ironic?
rain on
Yeah,
your wedding day.
dude, Alanis Morissette was my jam back in the day.
I heard she had like a comeback a little bit.
She released a song recently and I listened to it. She's still talented. I don't even remember the song though. Like I'm that guy who's like, I like her old stuff, right? Like that was the stuff that
There's
it was
nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was popping off back in the day, and like that it was 90s music, and now she's making like 2020 music, and like good for her, but you know, whatever. You like what you like, and that's that. But
But you're
yeah, dude,
yeah.
it's I'm a dick. No,
I was trying to say you're addicted to chicken nuggets. But it came out
no,
you're a dick.
so what's really funny about it is, you know, me and Ashley, we've been doing a little bit more focused meal plan, and God bless her heart, because she's like, I got this, and like she's taking care of it, and like we talk about it a little bit, but I'm like, you're the captain of this ship, like whatever you make, I know it's not going to kill me, and it's probably going to be way healthier than me eating chicken nuggets, right?
Yeah.
But like what I realized is that was something that I would kind of have a crutch on, is like, okay, 1 day a week I'm able to just go and eat some fast food, and you know, you get like these weird endorphins from eating like garbage, you know, but it's so good, right? It's poison, but it's so good. And so me and my brother are like, all right, we're not going to do junk food, right? That's going to be a part of our diet, is like eat cleaner, but you don't just have to eat raw chicken breast and rice all the time. Like
Yeah.
you can, right?
You can do it without being like crazy on it. Yeah.
But dude, like as a person who's like about fitness for myself, and I have clients and stuff, and I talk to them about like, hey, here's how we can better your nutrition. This whole challenge like made me realize like I am a human being. Like I like fast food. And it's super weird because I have this funny feeling that after 75 days, I'm going to try to go eat like a Big Mac. I'm going to get sick. I'm just going to be like, I'm going to be like in bed for 3 days, and like, God only knows what's going to happen.
I just imagine you like stuck on the toilet with a jug of Pedialyte, and
yeah,
Ashley has to push like supplies in.
Yeah.
Shut the
Hey,
door.
I'm not going to come in there, but I'm going to just throw a thing of Febreze here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh man. Good stuff. Hey, shout out to 2008 Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
You have a problem.
At this point, it's just my gimmick, right? I'm just going to keep bringing it up. Maybe that will be a fail that we can talk about that I overcame, right? Where one day, episode 213 or something, I go, hey, why didn't anyone stop me? I just don't understand.
I tried to stop you, but like there's no no control.
No one
there.
can stop me, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so it has been a fun experience though. Making a podcast. I mean, so this is kind of like, you're not new to it, right? This is your second go at it.
And it's definitely been smoother. I will give it that, because I kind of knew the basics out of the gate. But there's new elements that are new to me too, like the video aspect of it on our YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what was going on there. And I remember when we were trying to do like our first big release, and it was our first 4 episodes. I didn't realize how long the rendering time was on video software. And yeah, like panic attack inducing, like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to get all this done. It was.
There was definitely an element of like, for both of us, of trying to figure out timing. But like, there was one day where I was like, oh yeah, like no problem, I got you. And then I go and I do my thing on the computer and I go to, render it and then, send it to you. And it's like 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm sorry, excuse me, what? And it's like, yeah, dude, what did you think was going to happen? I was like, I didn't think. I was just doing it. Yeah.
That was my thing too. Like we're both very good at just doing things, and it's gotten us pretty far in this. But when it came to like a limit, like a hard limit of like, hey, this takes 6 hours, right? And you're like, no, it doesn't. And then it's like, actually, yeah, like you fucked up a little.
Yeah. It's just a video of a laptop flying off someone's balcony in an apartment. Holy moly. I've been very grateful for the experience because it has been another thing. It's been a new like challenge in my life, but it definitely keeps things spicy, right? And I hope this doesn't come off bad, but there are times where I forget about the podcast. Like doing this, so I'm doing this over here, I'm doing that over there, and I'm like, I'm forgetting something, and I pull up my calendar and I go, oh right, yeah, we're linking up and we're going to be filming. And even weirder is I like to talk to people, have conversation, and I just say it freely. Like I'd be like, oh, well, I can't because I'm recording a podcast. And there are people who are like, I'm sorry, what? And I'd be like, yeah, dude, apparently you can just get on the internet and record a podcast.
No one stops you.
Yeah. Now, maybe no one's listening to it, but whatever, right? I think it's interesting too, because I am trying to be mindful of the fact that I want to do this as something that I hope people enjoy and it's entertaining. But maybe they can relate or take something from it, or it provokes thought. But I wanted to be very mindful of, I know, we have socials and stuff like that, but I don't want to become obsessed with, like, I want people to like it. I want people to share it all the time. And I do want it to become something that a lot of people can enjoy, but
it's a hard balance because I think for both of us, we got into it for the right reasons of it's a good topic, like failure should be talked about, but it's not. And we have a passion there. And just even from the interviews we've done, just sharing people's story and hearing new perspectives, it's exciting. Like I enjoy it. It's still something that kind of gets the fire burning, if that makes sense. And it doesn't feel, both of us like to talk to people and it just fits really well.
I think I really liked what Jeff said to us whenever he was on about, well, everyone's creative, right? Like don't be afraid to be creative. And what, like, even if it's like the way you cook your meals, right? And when I was like, oh, I'm not really creative, instead of letting me just be negative, he was like, no, he's like, think about it. Like, you're able to just have people on your show and just talk. And I was like, oh my, I'm an artist. Like, I should be in a museum. And I think maybe that's not what he meant, but I ran with it, and I've been really appreciating the fact that this is like a creative outlet for us. Right.
Yeah. It's a new way to create something. And for me, like, I can compare it to, like, I've always liked photography and taking pictures because it feels like you're capturing a moment or a vibe or an essence or like a little piece of time. And this, for me, has been exactly what I wanted it to be, capturing conversations about topics that we care about. And we also, on Jeff's episode, just a good episode, we talk about like being in the now and just living for that. And I keep reminding myself that when we go to record, and it really just brings like a new depth to it, and it's made it feel even better.
Yeah, I think it's crazy for me because I think I brought this book up before, but The Power of Now, I recommend it to people, and it's it's not like a really, it's not that it's hard to read. I think there are some things that you need to take the time to sit down and comprehend it. Like I listened to it on Audible when I did consume it, and I would listen to maybe 15 minutes and be like, hey, I need a second.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. Okay. So how am I perceiving it? And part of it is, like, okay, you want to focus on right now. It's the only thing that's real, right? But that doesn't mean like don't plan for like, hey, I'm about to move out of an apartment and go to another one. Like you should have a plan of where you're going. But it talks about like, okay, cool. No one's telling you not to do that. But it's either recognize like how much of the problem can you solve. Can you, if you're moving out of your apartment, can you move into that apartment today? No. Okay. What can you do today that works towards that? And then just, call it when you have to each day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like focus on the
It's
task at hand instead of like
right.
cycling on something over and over.
Or like me, where it's like, okay, hey, I need to like work on the podcast. I'm like, ooh, squirrel, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, I could go work out again. Like, Sam, you're in the middle of doing, no, I'm gonna go lift weights again. Right. I don't know if you've noticed, but I keep looking to my right, and I have part of that 75 hard thing is you have to do an outdoor workout for 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I've just been keeping it simple most days, and I just walk. And it is progressively getting darker and darker outside at it's 3:50 in the afternoon, and it's starting to look like sun's going down.
Dude, I saw the color change just in your video in general and was
Yeah,
like, all
yeah,
right.
I might be walking in the rain in a little bit.
Oh my
We'll
God.
see. But I think that's the whole point of the challenge, right? Is like no matter what's happening, it's like just get it done, right? And that'll be funny to talk about, the next time. I'll just be like, so, just for continuity, I'm gonna bring up where I'm at in this 75 hard challenge.
And how you got pneumonia, just,
Oh,
powering through that.
oh man, it's gonna be fine. I mean, rain in the summertime, as long as it's not a tornado,
I was
it
about to
can be
say
enjoyable.
tornado. It is tornado season.
I call you can hear it like, it's just
Something
absolutely
doesn't
bonkers.
seem right. The sky's green.
Yeah. Dude, you want to talk about fail? Look at this. This is crazy. And you'd be like, you're gonna
Go
die.
inside.
Yeah. Oh man. It is what it is. I'm just gonna embrace it in the now, which is later.
Oh.
So you brought up something earlier that I think you should bring up again.
Yeah, so I had an idea, and I don't know where it stemmed from, but back in the day, there was a website called F My Life or FML. And I used to just like scroll through that thing for hours as a teenager and read the stories. And it's basically a website where people post like fucked up things that happened to them or blah 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 blah. Yeah. So either like personal failures or system failures or like things outside of their control. And I thought it would be fun if we just went through some of those in this episode.
It's kind of, yeah, all right.
Try to laugh at them, glean some lessons from them, see where it takes us.
I think we should play the game of let's find the worst one.
Oh God.
It's gonna be somebody that's like, and then I came home and this was happening and now I'm divorced. And it's like, oh my God. I think you sent me a link, right?
Yeah, you should have it.
Let's see here.
And I'm pretty sure this is the same exact website because when I kind of looked at it earlier today, there's dates like going back to like 2008.
Yeah, there's one right here, 2011.
Yeah.
What were you like? How old were you in 2011? Am I allowed to ask that?
Yeah. It's gonna make you feel old, but I was a junior in high school.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were like a full-fledged adult.
I was about to complete my first year in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
I was learning to drive and stuff like
yeah.
that.
It's the same thing, dude. It's the same thing, right?
No.
Okay, so I feel like I need to pre-read it before I shouldn't just like blindly go into this while recording a podcast, huh?
I would say let's make sure there's nothing crazy, but I already have one ready.
And this first one's actually not bad. You should go first. I think it's your idea. I would like to see Bring it. What you got?
So there's a random feature on this website, and
I'm
I found
offended.
this is like the second one on my little random timeline thing, but it's
Okay.
gold. Like it's pretty great. So all of these start, just to preface, all of them start with today, and then they explain their shitty scenario in like a sentence or two. All right. So here's our first one. Today, I got hit by a car while walking into the hospital to visit my wife, who had also gotten hit by a car.
Oh my gosh. Dude, have you ever met anyone that's been hit by a car?
I had someone living with me in the last few years that got hit changing her tire on the side of the
Oh,
road and got pinned. Yeah.
oh my God. Okay, well, so I mine was gonna be a little bit more lighthearted than that, I guess. You're like, actually, matter of fact, holy moly. Is that person okay?
She's fine now. Yeah, she's perfectly fine.
She totally took it like a champ. What does that mean?
She walked off. She was
Gave him the bird and was like, car can't hurt me. I did know a dude in the military that, like, I noticed sometimes we'd be walking on a sidewalk and cars would be going by, and he would just slowly like get closer and closer, or further and further away from the edge. And I was like, what's going on here? And he's like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. He's like, I think he was a teenager, he got hit by a car. And who knows, maybe he was doing something stupid and like in the road, or maybe the driver did something stupid, but it was one of those things where he was like, he'll never look at cars the same way, because
yeah.
I can't imagine what that feels like.
I would imagine that would change you forever. Even if you didn't get injured, it was just the shock of it. There's no way I wouldn't trust a car after that.
Right. It's like especially if you're like a teenager or a kid and you get attacked by a dog. For the rest of your life,
You're
gonna be
afraid of dogs.
or just very cautious. Like it's not like an irrational fear. Your brain's like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
No, yeah.
Cars can.
They're
cars
like, we've
can
been
run
here
us over?
before. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
The only
Okay,
other
so
thing I was gonna say on this one is like, it totally probably wasn't that guy's fault. Like he didn't, I'm hoping, like, I don't know. I would imagine if you're in the mind space of walking in to see your wife who was hit by a car, you might not be looking where you're walking. But in a parking lot of a hospital, someone hit him, like they're not looking, right?
a hospital's a really hard place to deal with, because either you need to be in the hospital, right? I mean, there are people that like they've been shot and they drive themselves to the hospital, which is okay,
Terrible.
right?
No.
Well, they're like, I ain't paying for no ambulance. Like, get out of here. And then they like, they just they just put their finger in the wound and they're like, it's plugged. I'm good.
Oh my God.
But like, you know what I mean? Or like, your parents or your loved one or someone could be on their like deathbed, and you're not thinking about pedestrians. You're thinking about, I got to get to this situation,
You're right. It could have been either of them in that mind space.
But then I picture like, oh God, this dude's like walking in to visit his wife who got hit by a car, and he gets hit by an ambulance. It's like, right? And it's like, one, you didn't see that coming, but two, bro, that's getting hit by a truck, like a big truck.
I don't think he'd be writing that if he got hit by an ambulance. But also the convenience of being hit by an ambulance is they're already there. They're already trained, right?
Yeah, but if they're getting hit by an ambulance, people are like, well, I'm sorry, we got this guy in the back, like he's been stabbed 18 times. We're just lay there. We'll be right back, right?
Oh my God.
It would be, what's the customer service? We'll be with you shortly. And you're like laying there mangled, your bones are sticking out of your body. I don't think mine's quite as dramatic or maybe even funny, but I feel like this has happened to me before. This is I'll probably just say like what year this was posted. So this one is 2011. Today, my upstairs neighbor was leaving the parking lot and stopped to wave. I smiled and waved back, only to realize that she was saying goodbye to her cat, who was sitting in the window. F my life. I'm a waver. So if I see someone waving,
I've done it so many times. It is so awkward, because then afterwards you're like, oh God, that hurt. That was painful.
Yeah. Okay. Is this awkward? Is it not awkward? Are we just I'm gonna walk the other way. I'm gonna leave my own house now. Bye. Right.
I just like how it was a cat too. Like she wasn't even waving at her friend or anything like that. It's a cat.
Hmm. But cats are people, and we should respect them for what they. No, I don't.
Yeah, I was like, you don't own a cat. I don't know where this
I
is coming
don't.
from.
Cats own people. All
They
right.
do.
I
Yeah,
know
people don't
enough
own
people that
cats.
do have cats that it's like I have a friend that they have a cat and they kind of unfortunately their mother had passed away. She had these cats, and so they inherited, and they were like, hey, like that's something that they were like gladly will take care of it, let them enjoy the rest of their life. And one of these cats is just I mean, it is getting dark outside. Oh my
It's getting
goodness.
darker as it goes. So we'll see if Sam survives this.
So one of these cats is just like feels like the softest pillow you've ever. It's just fluffy, and she's kind
Mhm.
of a fat cat, right? But like so soft. But that cat's like, you touch me,
And they'll
I
fuck
will
you
rip,
up.
I will
Yeah.
rip your face off. Have you ever heard of Hannibal Lecter? Okay, whoa, cat. Like she's, and it's unfortunate because it's this temptation of like, man, I just want to like cuddle this cat like it's a stuffed animal, and the cat's like, razor sharp claws. I will put them in your face.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. I imagine the
They
cat in the
don't.
window that lady was waving to was just like, fuck you,
Yeah.
Betsy, or whatever her name was.
Who said you could wave at me? Get out of here.
Yeah,
Go make a paycheck. It's like I'm
fucking
going to the
leave.
store. Yeah. Go get my catnip. I need that now.
Oh my God. Okay. I have another one, and then it reminds me of something that happened to me. All right.
Okay.
So today I was at the mall with my friend. A lady came up to us and told my friend she could be a model. Then the lady looked at me and said, "Oh, nice shoes."
Oh my gosh. Oh,
So
nice shoes.
this it's similar, but like I feel like mine might have been even worse. In Vegas, we went to Vegas for my bachelorette party, and my best friend and I were we had figured out that if you're a young lady, there's club promoters, and it feels sketchy, but like it can be done safely. There's club promoters that want to get the female number up in a club, and they will just, get you past the line to get you in. So they have a higher count of girls in a club.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing that for a few nights. And then we ran into another club promoter when we were like walking around the strip, and he was telling us about the club. And then he stops and he's like, honestly, like you guys are too average for two girls like you. I don't know if I can get you in, blah, 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 like all of that. And we were just like, all right. You didn't have to
Yeah.
didn't have to take us
Stab.
down a peg.
Just stab and then twist the blade. Like,
Because we were
that's gonna take.
feeling it was working for like 2 or 3 like nights in a row. And we were like, this is good. Like
I mean, to be fair, it's never worked for me. I've tried.
to be a young
Like,
lady in
I'm
Vegas.
like, hey, like maybe you should let me. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And then no, they've never let me in. Yeah, that had to kind of suck, but a couple of shots after that, you probably forgot it even happened. Obviously not because we're talking about it now, but
I'll never forget. And this dude was like not special himself. So it was
yeah, and that's where you should have just like, oh yeah, buddy. Well, maybe you're. You should have said something like, I don't know.
I was waiting for your like
There's gotta be like a good comeback to that of like, oh yeah, Mr. Average, or there's gotta
you're
be something better
average. Just talk
like
about his dick size being average or something like that.
yeah, but then like that's a rabbit hole nobody wants to go down. Oh yeah, and then like whips it out because you're in Vegas and nobody cares in Vegas. Vegas, man, Vegas. That's a heck of a time.
It's fun.
Let's see here. Okay, I'm not gonna read that one out loud on here.
There's some that should not be shared.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Some of this, it's like I can't even.
Some of them are true, like, yeah.
Oh, now somehow I ended up in like a comment section. Today I FML using the FML website because I can't.
Sam doesn't know how to use technology. I would suggest all of our audience go just dig this up. There's also a Reddit subreddit as well, where some of this is moved to, that's a little more recent, and we might do that like later on. Oh, I have one when you're ready.
Yeah, this is pretty intense. This is the first time we're doing this, so I don't know like what people want to hear or why, but this seems pretty Today my psychotic ex-boyfriend has hit a brand new low. I was served court papers saying that he's suing me by demanding I give him a paternity test for my daughter. He's also telling everyone he's her real father. He and I were broken up for more than a year before I even got pregnant. F my life.
Oof.
So there are some messy situations out there, and thankfully I've never had one like that. But I think it can get pretty wild out there in terms of like, oh my god, do you hear that?
Is that the
Oh
wind?
dude,
Is that the wind?
it sounds like wind and gusts of rain. Oh
Uh,
man, yeah, man. Okay, it's fine.
Sam's about to be Dorothy from Wizard of Oz.
It's gonna be funny because it's gonna like the storm's just gonna pass and like it's gonna be fine. Or it's so hot outside it won't really matter. It'll be kind of funny. I'll just put my phone in a Ziploc bag. But I think it's so crazy because I was really fortunate when I met Ashley because I mean, one, what more magical place could you meet someone than at the gym, right? Which that was like a fairy tale come true for me, right? But the thing was is that I was like, man, I don't want to date. Like, I don't even want to like try to navigate those waters anymore. And I was like I guess I was 30, right? So I did my 20s, whatever. And I was at the point where I was like, it's gotten too crazy, like dating apps and like, you're supposed to go meet up, but then like both parties are kind of like, like, do I bring a gun? Like, do I need to have like 2 cans of mace? Like, how do I defend myself here? I'm just wrapped in pillows and duct tape. Like, ain't nobody gonna hurt me. And it's you hear stories like this, man, where it's like, I'm sorry, what now? And they're like, I'm so delusional that I've decided and how do they even get court papers to
Because they've fabricated this whole lie. That just goes to like pathological liars. That's what it makes me think of. Which dating those suck because then you get pretty far in a relationship before you realize the lies and get out of it, and then they're already, they have some claws in, and they can cause shit like that.
Okay, well, that's all I have to say about that. I definitely don't want to go down any deeper of this rabbit hole of
You don't want to talk
like
about bad
like dating
relationships.
experiences or well, and I've been very fortunate. Like I mean, obviously relationships end because maybe they're not meant to be, right? Like I'm a person that believes in the phrase you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and sometimes it's rough waters, right? But if you look back at every relationship you had, you learned something about yourself and you learned something about boundaries, you know what I mean? Like what you will and will not tolerate.
I can agree with that without getting into detail 100%.
Isn't that crazy? Wow, look at us
Yeah.
go. We're adults.
All right, I have another one. So this one they gave like an additional title that I want to read like in Gandalf's voice, but I can't do it. But it just says "You old fool." And goes, "Today, after repeatedly telling my partner's family that our daughter is allergic to peanuts, his grandfather decided to feed her one to see if she's really allergic. FML." That is just like
Child abuse?
beyond, I'm pretty sure like in a court of law that would be like child endangerment, to know that a child would have an allergic reaction, because especially with peanuts, like there's varying levels. Some people just
Yeah.
get itchy or like a rash, but some people are like, if you breathe after you ate some peanut butter, they like collapse. Like
It can get pretty severe.
don't mess with that stuff.
I always wonder how I'm not allergic to stuff. But I'm very grateful for it because I don't know. I mean, I've met people that they're like, I'm allergic, but like if I eat a little bit, I don't die. So every once in a while I push it, and it's like crazy. But I mean, food. I mean, that's the best drug out there, you know what I mean? And it's everywhere. I had a friend one time that I was like, hey, how you doing? He's like, well, I almost died last night. And I'm like, what the and he was like, yeah, I was eating, we were out at Chili's or whatever. And he was like, my dad had the blah blah blah, and it was like an Asian kind of dish. And he went and started eating it, and all of a sudden his throat started swelling up because there was like peanut oil or something. There was no way that they would have known, but like afterwards, they're like, I guess we could have thought about that, right? Like peanut gets used a lot in Asian cuisine or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Because I really care about him. Like I was like, hey, I would be really upset if I have to go, wow, I don't get any more time with you because the peanut is what took you out. Like, come on, man.
I had one of my best friends, her brother is like super allergic to a lot of things. And one of those was peanuts, and she loved peanut butter. So her mom wouldn't let them like have peanut butter in the house, nothing like that. She would keep a jar of peanut butter in her purse. And that was like her way around it. And it was like through his allergy that she had to like sneak peanut butter at school and like stuff like that.
Jeez Louise. So I had he's a person that I'm very grateful I got to know, but I met him through the Marines. And he actually lives pretty close by. I should probably hit him up, right? Especially since he's popping into my brain. But we had a thing where it was called retrans, which is a retransmission site. So you would go up on a really tall, think mountain, or I guess some of them could have been considered like a really tall hill, right? But it's way up there. And during the training operation, it allows radio communication to go further than it normally would, especially in a hilly area, right? Mountainous area. So he's up on top of this hill. They're living out of a Humvee. They have equipment running and they're doing the thing. And as far as he knows, he's like not allergic to anything.
Yeah.
Well, when you're up there, it's like desert. And so you have water. Well, the bees and the animals and whatever are like, there's water over there. And so bees start to kind of congregate. Well, he gets stung by a bee and he found out very quickly that he was for sure allergic to bees. A medevac had to fly in, snatch him up, put him in the helicopter, fly him to a hospital. And it was like a close call. Like it almost got him. And he's like a champion. Like he has like he's had crazy things happen to him, but he's like, there was this one time I got stung by a bee, and guess who's allergic to bee? And you're like sitting there going, oh,
you're
my
like,
God,
what? Dude, I still have I've never been stung by a bee. So I'm like paranoid that I'm going to be allergic the day it happens.
Look, bees aren't the problem. It's wasps.
I've
I've
been stung by those all the time.
Bees, dude. I feel like bees have to be provoked, and maybe I've had like such a great life that I don't know how vicious bees can be, because I'm sure you kill one, they all like hunt you down. That was one thing they would always tell us: don't kill any of the bees, because the scent will get on you, and then they'll know who to target. And you're like, oh my God. I was like, man, I hope if someone ever kills me, I leave a scent, and everybody that cares about me is like, we know where the target is. And I'm like,
oh my
God. Okay, so this might instigate some interesting conversation, but I don't think it's that bad.
Okay, that's a great intro.
This one has a title to it, and it says, well, I'm just going to cut that out. Today, something smelled absolutely disgusting in the bathroom, like cow shit and stinky beetles. I started sniffing around because whatever it was, I had to find it and clean it up. That, however, proved to be difficult because it turned out that smell was coming from the new soap my mom had bought. F my life. First off, there is a thing, like I grew up and it's created like a
I can hear it. Yeah.
Do you hear that? Is that outside?
I hope it's not inside.
Okay, we have to pause for a second. So the reason why I saw that one and I felt like, I'm going to read it is because there's definitely like something about me where certain smells, I'm like, I hate it and I can't stand it. And like with colognes and perfumes, like they make them so that they'll last all day. So sometimes they're really strong. So if I like it, I like really like it. Like I'm like, man, I just want to huff this in a bag, which sounds really bad. But if it's on like the end of like a soap that smells like manure? Like how? Oh my.
I just want to know how a soap would even end up smelling like poop. Like
Right.
someone designed that at corporate or whatever, and they had people test it, and they were like, "This is good."
Here's what I wonder is maybe it was like a prescription type. Can you hear that?
It's hail. You have hail now. I like how you're still saying you're gonna go on a walk.
I know I literally have to. If I don't, we have to start over.
God.
I'm gonna give it time though. I mean, it's still early. Like I just have to do it before midnight, and my bedtime's like 9. So maybe I just eat dinner and then I go for a walk in the rain and regret it.
In the hail. Yeah.
It's not. I don't know if that's hail. Maybe it's just big water drops, like water balloons being flung at the window. Right.
That's what it sounds like. Oh, maybe it's fine.
Well, I'll have to definitely touch base on this like the next episode just for funsies.
Sam did survive.
He was dumb enough to go walk outside in the storm.
Okay, so I have another one that you're gonna appreciate. Today, while I was working out, I was listening to music with my earbuds in. The Pokemon theme started playing and I began singing along. It wasn't too long after that I remembered I was in a crowded gym on a military base, FML. So he's just sitting there like, Pokemon.
I
think that's a win. I don't think that's a failure at all. I like it. You gotta own it.
like here's my thing. I think it's funny because there are people. So at one point in time in my life, I very much identified where like if I was talking about music, I was like, yeah, I'm really into like heavy metal. Like I want that like crazy stuff. But then, you realize as you start the journey of like growing, right? And we all do it in little amounts and sometimes big jumps, whatever. But like it doesn't make sense to like your identity is based off of like a genre of music, right?
Yeah.
Like you're more than that, But I was in like a weird place in my life and it was something that really resonated with me. And I would listen to it at the gym. Like it gets you going, right? Like awesome. Well, I would also have like pop music on the playlist. And there was one time I'm working out with a buddy and it was in the military, like on base, whatever. But I'm doing curls or something with dumbbells. I'm in the zone. And he's kind of, for whatever reason, like, is that Lady Gaga coming out of his headphones? And like, he goes, hey man. And I like take out my thing. I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, are you listening to Lady Gaga? And I can tell you what song it was. It was Bad Romance. And I was like, yeah, 100% I'm listening. You should be listening to this. I don't know why you're not listening to it. And like they're it's strange because like even if it's like I know people that really like anime, and they'll fall in love with like the intro music or like the soundtrack of that anime, and they're like, I just think it's silly because I don't know what they're saying. And I'm like, you think I know what people are saying in heavy metal? Like unless I'm reading a lyric, like the lyrics on paper or on the screen, half the time I can't understand what they're saying. Like the voice can be an instrument,
Yeah.
Plus, who doesn't like Pokemon? Like I mean, for real, come on.
You gotta just own that.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail of like, I hate Pokemon. Okay,
Pokemon is the worst.
The Pokemon is not for me. Okay.
I don't like them pocket monsters.
Wasn't that like a whole different show? There was a show called Pocket
Digimon.
No, I don't know what I'm thinking about. I'm
Pokemon,
not even gonna pretend like
Pokemon in Japanese means pocket monster.
No, I know, but I think there was like a sideshow that like they would show Digimon and they would show Pokemon, and then there was like a third one. There was like another one where it was like, oh, it was called
Beyblade.
Oh, it's coming back to me.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Monster Rancher.
Wow, that is. I have no
I
idea.
bet I'm butchering that, and that's not even right. I'm gonna bail on this topic because I don't want to embarrass myself anymore. The Pokemon community is already making fun of me. I can feel it.
They're already over it.
Oh, I've got a good one, but it's your turn. It is your turn.
No, I just went. It's all you.
It's your turn. I just keep doing that. I keep skipping it. This seems like a pretty bad time. I realized that I said I was going to say the year for each one, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to say the year to this one, and it just says France. So
France
I
from
guess that's
any
it.
time. It could have been the
From
$1800s or
the Renaissance, right? Today I wasn't feeling well, so I took my temperature with a thermometer from my sister's bathroom. I later found out that I actually used my sister's rectal thermometer. At least I don't have a fever, FML. I was like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure like 30 minutes after you type that out, you probably had a fever because like, well, maybe no, if I had a rectal thermometer, I would
you'd
clean
hope
it. I
you'd
wouldn't.
clean it regularly. I don't think people are like, I want to hope the sister didn't just put that back in the cabinet right after use. Like, yep, here we go.
There's no way.
They gotta wipe
Well,
that
I guess the
down.
other question is why do you have a
That is my bigger question. Why are we still like there's the forehead thing? Actually,
well
we don't
well
have the
this could have been
year. Yeah.
this could have been like 2000, right? Or like 2010, whatever. And the click, scan the forehead, whatever. But there had to be like a very specific reason, like, hey, we need to know what your core temperature is because you have some kind of like maybe disease or something, right? That like keeps you from.
She just liked it. She preferred the rectal.
It was a curiosity thing of like, I wonder what it feels like.
Temperature.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I just imagine like the weird conversations of I can't because I have to go check my temperature, and it's like, you wait, one, okay, cool, go check your temperature. It takes like 30 seconds too. Like, you can't like go out to dinner for that. I don't know, it's crazy.
There's a whole prep that goes into it. Okay, I have a good one that like anyone who's worked customer service can relate to. Just
Okay.
yeah. Today I had a customer scream at me for ruining their child's birthday party. They had bought a piñata for me and didn't know they had to fill it themselves. The kids had hit it open and it was empty. This is like every customer that gets mad and then like it's completely their fault, but they blame you anyways.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because I have been in positions where I have to be like, hey, let me talk to your manager. And I always have this, like, because I have done customer service where I go, hey, like, it's not because I don't think you're competent. I think they literally don't give you any power. And you're just like you're like a punching bag, right? You're the front lines that just get smacked around for no reason. It's not fair. You don't get paid enough money. Can I talk to your manager? And anytime I start it that way, they're like, oh yeah, like definitely. Cause I'm
They're
like,
like,
hey,
this guy gets it.
yeah, I'm like, hey, there's no reason that you would have to deal with this. And like, you worry that they think you're going to go full, I'm about to, anybody that has the mentality of like, I'm going to get you fired has probably never been punched in the face and just needs to feel that experience of like, hey, you're flesh and bone. Like, we are all equal in some form or fashion. Like, I mean, you look at it from different ways, but we all have the same outcome, right? We're all going to die. So if you're like really upset about like your Doritos Cool Ranch, right? I don't think you should.
Those Karens don't get it. They don't, if they're being a Karen to the point of they're going to yell at an innocent worker, and it's like, let's just say the scenario is definitely not their fault. They aren't thinking like, oh, we're all going to die. I should treat people with like humanity and humility. They're like, no one taught me how to be like a proper human. Fuck you, man. It's your fault. I've never been held responsible in my life.
Oh my god. For some reason I pictured Boss Baby. I've never seen that show, but I just pictured this baby who's like, I've never been taught a
because they're basically a giant baby, just like
I feel
throwing a fit.
so bad that it's turned into being a Karen is what it's called, because like there are people who are genuine human beings.
I have an aunt named Karen, and she's awesome. She is the opposite of like the stereotypical Karen. And I think I posted a meme that was a Karen meme, and my aunt was like, hey now.
So does she know what it is, or was she just like, oh, okay?
Yeah, I think it's overarching at this point that, yeah.
Shout out to Aunt Karen. We love you so much. Right? Thanks for being a part of our podcast today.
She's like, I didn't want to.
Dude, and I my very first job was at a Taco Bueno. And I started as a fry cook. And one day they're like, hey, like you're always on time. Like, you're a good worker. We want to give you more responsibility, which as a 16-year-old, I was like, yeah, dude, like they think I'm good at what I do. The reality was, is they're like, we need someone to cover the front. we're going to call this Crash Course 101, learn how to take an order at the front. And this dude loses it because I'm like I'm feeling the pressure. And I was like, how are there like 8 different menus? How do I scroll these menus? And then it was like, where do I find the bean burrito? I couldn't find just like the basic bean burrito. And the dude's like, come on, like, I don't got all day. And so this is like, I always, especially in hindsight, you always can kind of see like things happen for a reason. So I'm like 16. I'm not gonna stick up for myself. Like, I'm like, I don't want to lose my job. So I'm just gonna let them berate me, whatever. My neighbor that like lived next door, he was the older kid, Brad, at least 6 years, maybe a little less, probably more. And he knew who I was. Like our two families got along until they eventually moved when I was like in high school. And so he knew who I was. He recognized me behind the front desk. He wasn't my neighbor anymore, but he was like, yo, dude, like, it's a bean burrito. And he like looked at him and was like, you probably don't need any more bean burritos anyway. And I'm like, oh my God. And the guy's like, what? And it was like, and then the manager's coming up and is like, sir, like, what's going on? He's like, I just want my bean burrito. This guy, da-da-da. And like everybody basically in the lobby, like, turned on this guy of just like, yo, dude, it's a bean burrito. And like, he was trying to stick to his guns of like, yeah, but, and people were like, you're trying to justify, you're yelling at a kid.
Oh my God.
But we don't have like a male version name. We just have like the Karen, like
Chad.
Wow, that was my very first experience dealing with a Chad.
Yeah, big old Chad.
I wish I could see where he's at now. Like, I would like to think that like he got really fit and like turned his whole life around, because he was like, maybe bean burritos are the problem, and like had this whole like
no
paradigm
some people just don't grow, Sam, and we got to accept it. The guy who yells about a bean burrito might never reflect on that. I'm sure in his mind he's still like, I should have gotten that bean burrito quicker.
He's hunting me,
yeah,
like, all this time. Like,
we just see a red dot on your forehead all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's not rain outside, it's him waiting. I think it's strange because the what if is such a wild make-believe exercise, right? Like, depending on your imagination, you could really like take it somewhere. And for some reason I picture him like he's walking like around the block or something, and he's like going past the school, and he like calls out a kid for something, and just a gaggle of kids just beat him, and that also didn't cause a paradigm shift for him either. He was like, something wrong with those kids, and it's like, what are you doing by a school?
Dude, that makes me think of just, well, like a little bit of a rabbit hole, but it makes me think of when I played sports. I played like softball and stuff, the type of parent that would start a fight with the umpire until they got ejected. Like, it was constant. And like, for everyone else context, I played softball in Texas, and then those people, even like t-ball, it's like their whole life, and like they're living through their child, some of them, and it's just insanity. But literally
there.
yeah, that's a whole can of worms in itself. But like, people, even playing like as a 12-year-old, a parent would be like screaming at the ref about how wrong their call was, like, oh, that's not a ball, that's a strike, to the point of getting kicked out of the game. Like, you have to leave or we're going to call the cops. And it happened like regularly.
So a part of that has to stem from a competitive nature for whatever reason, right? Like, maybe when they were growing up, their parents were that way or whatever. But what's crazy to me is I don't ever think about that. I never did softball or anything, but I have talked to people that have done it, and they all talk about that. But one thing that's weird is I know several adults that do soccer leagues, and they'll tell you like these stories where people, like grown adults, are so competitive that they lose it.
Yeah,
they absolutely lose it, and they're like, you better change the call, ref, or like, I'm taking you out, I'm taking the other team out, I'll take out my own team, I don't care about anybody, you're all going down. And it's like, you're going to war for the wrong reason.
It's like that blind like rage just because they want to win at something. I don't get it. And like, when you're a kid playing sports, you're like, winning feels good, but like, it's fun to hang out with my friends, like, it doesn't matter. But your parent, if my parents were always just supportive, like, do the best you can. But if your parent was the type that like had an aneurysm and was like bright red if you weren't winning, what kind of example does that set for that child? Those, my theory, I'm coming full circle, those children whose parents like rage at kids games turn into Karens and Chads.
Dang,
It's a vicious cycle.
that's pretty hardcore.
I just solved it.
So we have to stop playing sports. We have to end all sports.
Yeah, let's just get rid of them.
I feel like some very large corporations would take us out.
They
would cancel
would.
our podcast. They would erase us from all existence. Our families and friends would be like, they just didn't exist one day. It was so weird.
I'm pretty sure my husband would he's gonna be offended when he hears this because he loves sports. He loves the home run and the
I will be honest and say that I am sometimes jealous of people that are really into it and like they're fans and they know stats and stuff because they enjoy it and so they leaned into it. And I'm like, what have I done that I did it with the gym? And I guess, you know, there are people that probably are like, oh God, he's a gym person, right? Same way some people are like, oh God, it's a sports person.
yeah.
Oh God, it's a right. There's always going to be haters, man. That's like the way it is. That's how we have yin and yang, right? It's like, but anyway, I do love the jokes about sports where I don't know. I'll send you some YouTube videos later and you can just be like,
Oh
that'll be great. I'm not even going to try to explain these videos. I'm not even going to do it.
Okay, is it my turn or your turn? I've lost track.
I
think
have one. If you have one, you can do it.
I have a short one. Yeah. All right. Today, I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me using LinkedIn, a platform people use to connect with potential employers. I mean, that's like a shitty way to find out. It's shitty no matter how you find out, though. But
Yeah,
my funny
I
thing
don't
on
know.
that, I've had men hit on me on LinkedIn. It is,
Really?
yeah, I had a man like add me as a connection. And to be honest, like I just add whoever I have mutuals with because it's good to, grow your network and blah, blah,
Oh
blah.
yeah.
So I didn't know him, but we had a mutual or something. So I added him and then he messaged me and it was professional at first. Like, what do you do? Hi, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, do you have a husband? And I was like, this, like hovering over the block button, like, maybe not going to be good. And I was like, yes, I'm married. And he's like, oh, do you have kids? And I was like, this is a lot. And I was like, no. And then like,
Done.
and then I just blocked him. But I was like, what was your route gonna be? Like, am I committed to that husband and kids hypothetically, or am I willing to have a LinkedIn
No,
affair?
that's exactly what it is, man. Like what's so crazy is I'm a loyalty based person. So like once I'm about somebody, I'm like ride or die. And whatever like friendship, relationship, like the family that I keep close to me, like, you know, that's important to me. And so like I don't understand the cheating thing. I'd rather go through a really uncomfortable conversation of like, hey, I'm leaving you or whatever because like I don't want this long term. And like I realize that I'm sorry and then move on. Right.
Yeah.
Then be the person that's like, I'm gonna do both. Like what? And
It,
then even crazier is there are dudes that have talked to me, and I'm sure there's women out there too, but they're like, yeah, some of them, even if there's a ring on the finger, they're like, there's a certain level that you can get away with. And I'm like, have you been married for more than 10 years? And it's like, what?
I've heard people say that too. Like, I don't remember who had said it, but I had gotten married and I've had guys say like, oh, the good ones are always like married. And then they continue to try to mac on you. Or they're like, oh, how long have you been married? And they don't care. Like they don't care at all. They're just trying to see like what they can get away with.
Right. Like there's obviously like a motive, if you will, right? Like you can always tell. And it's unfortunate too, because here's my thing. When you start going the route of, okay, I'm a human being and I want to try to have the mentality of not judging, right? Like I don't want to judge people. You have to accept a certain amount of your it's your instinct, right? You have to be some version of judgmental. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Like
you can't be completely unbiased or you're going to get
you
walked all
can't.
over. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like on a very like primal level, there are people out there that they literally are out on the prowl to like hurt someone.
Yeah.
And like it's something that I was naive about until a certain point in my life, and then it was like, wait a minute, like there are literally people who are like, even for no reason, they're just like, I'm gonna go hurt somebody today, and you could be that person, right?
Yeah.
It's strange because the type of people I want to be around, like you hear, like I'll hear people like just be open about it, like it's normal, where they're like, oh yeah, like there's this girl I met that's married, and I'm like trying to get her, and I'm like, what do you mean trying to get her? Like understand her? And they're like, no, like, you know, in the sheets. And I'm like, to like make a bed? I don't know. And it's obvious what it is, but I mean, you can't just sit there and be like, oh hell yeah, like, oh yeah, like start clapping, you know.
But that's the thing, is some people do respond that way and they're like, good for you, dude, like getting it both ways or whatever. But like, I've been cheated on, and I think it's basically a failure to either deal with your own shit and talk to the person you're with about it. Like you said, if you were in a situation that was leading up to that, you talk to the person that you're with. You don't just go do something and, you know, fuck it all up. But normally when a person does that thing, they're either just, you know, out to hurt people, or they're avoiding even dealing with the issue and thinking they can get away with both of it at the same time.
Those stories come out, and it's like, yeah, I found out my husband of 8 years, Brad, actually had a whole nother life in a whole nother state with a whole nother like wife and kids. And it's like, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's like, bro, that has to be exhausting. Why would anyone do that?
It's just why. Like, if you're not happy with the person you're with, that's an issue in itself. But you're gonna hurt like multiple people if you go do that. It just makes no sense to me.
It's a lot of, I think, fear. And like you said, like, dude, there are people that will fight tooth and nail not to deal with confrontation, to the point of maybe that's what happens, right? Like, well, instead of like breaking it off, I'm just gonna go start like 2, 3, 4, 5 different marriages, and I'm gonna juggle them all. It'll be fine. So this was just kind of silly, right? This is a little less
serious.
People can be awful in the world, right? 2014 is when this one came. It says, today I wanted to eat my last bowl of sugary cereal before starting my new diet. I fell down the stairs with the full bowl in hand. Message received, universe. F my life.
Oh my
and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it happens, right? But can you imagine, like, I haven't eaten a bowl of cereal in a while. That's not true. I had like one of those, like, it's made by Quaker, but it's supposed to be like a real oatsy cereal, like a lot of granola and oats and whatever.
I haven't had box cereal in a few years.
So I had that because it was like, I obviously drink milk out of a wine glass, so I might as well eat a bowl of cereal, right?
Just out
I
of
wanted
a wine
like
glass.
Yeah, that's right. It's like yeah, so you know, I had done that, but before then, like I was like, cereal doesn't provide anything, so I don't want it. Like I'd rather enjoy like, even though maybe it's not the best thing for you, sometimes I eat like a protein cookie and I'm like, man, I got kind of the realm of a cookie and I enjoyed it, but I was getting like 20 grams of protein or whatever. With cereal, almost all of them, it's literally like, it's got sugar, and it goes, great source of fiber, and you look and it'll be like 1 gram of fiber for every like 3 boxes of cereal you eat, and you're like, do you know how much fiber the average person's supposed to get? Like, I think whenever I was taught it, like women was maybe 10 to 15 grams less, but it was still pretty high. It was like roughly 45 to like 60 grams of fiber in a day. And I think a lot of us on a good day
like
might
30
get
maybe.
Right. I remember trying for like 3 days of like get my fiber every day, and I basically just ate beans.
That's all you can do. Some Metamuse, some beans.
But so I looked into it because I was like, hey, dude, Metamucil, right? Bro. They're like, all right, you're going to pour this in here and it's going to be 5 grams. And I was like, I would have to do how many servings of this? Beans have a pretty high fiber content. And then, you can get fiber. If you're looking for it, you can get it, right? You don't have to necessarily supplement it. But like, bro, you can look up chicken nuggets from McDonald's and like you can go, oh, there's some protein in there, but the calories are pretty high because there's so much fat. There's so much fat. And it's like, hey man, you can get 5 grams of fiber, but it's like 10,000 calories and you're basically rubbing sugar on your gums. Like you're like, oh my God, but I got my fiber,
Oh God. All right.
All right, here's one for you. No, it's your turn.
Hold on.
How do we keep doing this? This is going to be like a funny podcast because
we just keep blacking out and not knowing which one.
Hey, are we recording right now? Oh my.
Well, like some of these I start reading and I'm like, wow, that is offensive. I cannot read that.
Oh God, cheating is like a big thing on here, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my. Can I just read this one? Oh man.
Yeah, go for it. Right. If you have a good one, go for it. Not a good one, but
it has so I think it's saying that it's a spicy one, but it has a little like red pepper like emoji next to the word.
Is that what those are?
That's that's like a red chili pepper or whatever. So this is 2020. Today, according to my emotionally distant boyfriend, stopping by a whorehouse on his way home several nights a week for a quick blowjob isn't cheating because it involves cash and no intimacy afterwards. And then it says dumped his ass real quick, FML. Wow.
Well, that's one where like at least she got out. Like take that as a like you got out of that. That is like insanity that someone's brain was like, it's not cheating.
It would have been so shocking if you went the route of like defending him. Well, I mean, if you think about it, and it's like,
right.
Yeah,
you should take all the time.
Oh my, oh man.
Good God. I feel like I'm saying "good God" a lot. It's quite possible.
That's okay.
Oh, I can't say that spicy one. It's too spicy.
Spicy.
We could do like we'll create like a premiere video that's just spicy FMLs.
That could be something in the future. I think if people give us feedback and they're like, yes,
give us the spicy.
Some of these I try to click it and it doesn't work. No dice. Sometimes
I think I got one.
Do it.
Okay. So today I met someone who works in radio advertising. Making conversation, I described an ad I can't stand. He wrote it.
What?
It's that foot and mouth thing.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like the worst movie I've ever seen. And the person's sitting there watching you, waiting because it's their directorial debut. And it's like, this is the worst thing since sliced bread.
Oh my God. I feel like we've all done it at some point. Someone puts on like a mixtape and you're like, I don't like this song. Can we change it? And they're like, I made that. Took me 12 hours.
I literally put my life in soul into this. Like my soul is a part. And they're like, wow, it looks like a 5th grader did it. I think that's where a lot of fear of failure comes in, man, is because there are things that you're like, yeah, dude, like I'm killing it. And then other people are like, oh, this is
not good. Bad, yeah.
And hopefully they like at some point are thankful and like grateful for the fact of like, hey, you didn't lie to me. Because dude, all right, F it. I'll do this on a podcast. So growing up, for some reason I heard the word salmon as salmon. And I called it salmon. I'm not even kidding. I called it salmon all the way until I was in my 20s. And someone goes, hey man, why do you say it like that? And I go, say what like that? Like, it's salmon. You keep saying salmon. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I'm not even kidding. No one ever corrected me. And one day I was like, wow, can you imagine? I'm like 84 years old, and somebody comes up to me and goes, hey man, why are you saying it that way? And I'm like, say what way? And they're like, it's salmon. And I'm like 80 something, and that's what kills me, because I go into cardiac arrest. I'm like, oh my god, my whole family was alive, and then I die. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's one I can laugh at now, but dude, I was so embarrassed. I made it like 23 years saying that.
Say it again, just one more time.
This is the last time. This is 2008 Facebook. That's going to be my rap name, 2008 Facebook. Salmon. Now, this is also coming from the kid that I couldn't say yellow when I was little. Like, I was like 4, maybe 5. I was probably too old to be saying lello, but I couldn't say yellow. And so, my dad would be in the truck and he'd be like, hey, man, like, what are the colors of the stoplight? And it's like, red, lello, green. And he's like, no, it's yellow. And I was like, right, lello. And he's like, dude. Yeah. And he's like, dude. And I'm sure, like, as a little kid, some people might have thought I was cute, but my dad was like, bro, like, we got to nip this in the bud. So then I got smart and he was like, all right, let's try it again. A couple of days go by, whatever. Okay, it's red, orange, and green. And he's like, what? And I'll be like, it's red, orange, and green. And he's like, no, that's yellow. And I go, nah, it looks pretty orange to me. And I'd like stick to my guns on it. Like that. I don't know what was more infuriating for my dad. Me being like, well, I can't say yellow, so now it's orange. Like I run this ship, right?
You worked around it.
And eventually I got to a point I said yellow. So, I've been saying words all jacked up my whole life.
I like that. I'm gonna make fun of you for the salmon. I can't even say it. Solomon.
Solomon something. Fish food.
Solomon salmon. But it's hard to make fun of people. Like if you learn a word through reading, or like you have to figure out how it's pronounced on your own. I can't knock people for that. Like they've made the effort. They're trying to learn something new. It's hard to figure that out on your own.
I think I've been really fortunate that the type of person I was like a weird kid. So like I got bullied, but like people get bullied. I never like go back and go like it ruined my whole life, right? Like there were just times where I was weird, and like I can look back and be like, yeah, that's fine, right? Really high energy. My imagination was like way out of control, right? And I just ran with it all the time because I mean, that's what made me funny. Like I was a weird kid, but I was able to be funny because my imagination was just belligerent, and I just take it there, right? Like I'm the guy that takes it there.
You still are,
but not on this podcast. And then it's just censored, and then like a whole line of like, and the whole world's gonna wonder what I said, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming you probably never said salmon, right? You just said salmon.
I used to say biscotti because I couldn't say spaghetti, and I just kept saying that until I was like 12 because I liked it, biscotti.
I think I have a fail for you. I'll let you decide if this is a fail, okay? So in 3rd grade, actually this was 2nd grade. In 2nd grade, I have a memory of being at the cafeteria and sitting next to a girl. I'm not going to say her name. I remember her name because this happened.
And then you're like, I'm going to say her name.
And she lives at but so somebody went, all right, we need to sell more chapstick to kids. And it's like, all right, what's your plan? Well, I think we should make a spaghetti scented chapstick. And this girl one day saw this and went, oh my God, spaghetti. Like was supposed to smell and maybe taste like spaghetti. I don't understand chapstick. I don't wear chapstick.
It's Smucker's. Because when back in the day, Smucker's made like every flavor. I had like a Dr. Pepper one, like all kinds of stuff.
This was like 1994-ish. So
that's when I was born.
yeah, it might have been like 1995, but like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know who made it, but we weren't ready. We didn't have the technology, because she would wear this daily and I would just be like, I can't eat my food. Like it would give me a headache. Like I would just be sitting there going like, Oh man, I know it's supposed to be spaghetti, but it smells like vomit and cheap chapstick. Like, and she was just like, "Yeah, I love it so much." I can't. I just can't. But I don't even. I mean, that was her, her choice. She liked it, maybe whatever. But like, who was the person that was like spaghetti scented?
The the 90s and early 2000s were a wild time of just someone will buy it. This is good.
New
This
car
will work.
smell chapstick, brought
Yeah.
to you in part by Megan and Sam, friends of failure.
Bleach chapstick.
It, Clorox edition. It burns when I put it on. That's because it's working, right?
Oh my God.
Hand sanitizer chapstick. Oh, no dice. I can't even.
That would burn. Would not feel good.
We each get one more, and then we have to.
I've
we
got a
have to
great.
do. Yeah, we have to come to an end. This went by so fast. It always does. Like we start, and I'm like, all right, yeah, we got like a solid hour and some change, and it's like, bloop.
It's we talked about it after like one of our last recordings. It's like we black out and just kind of get in the zone, and then we're like, oh God, it's over. All right.
God. Bloop. Oh,
Yeah.
and
Where
I
am
always
I?
I always rewatch it to go like, is that what we talked
All right, I have mine whenever you're ready.
about? I don't have.
I'm laughing at this one as I pre-read it. Okay.
All right, do yours, because I might not find one. This might be the last one.
I think this would be a good one to go out on.
All right, let's do
I'm
it.
gonna see if I can get through it without like butchering
Deep breath.
it. Okay. Today I was watching a movie with my boyfriend. His dog his dog Baxter has a bad farting problem. I decided it would be okay to let a silent fart out and blame it on the dog. Baxter was outside when I blamed him.
Yeah. Oh man.
It got me. It was so good because it's
You-
classic to blame the dog, but like I just
You
imagine
gotta-
the boyfriend is like making eye contact with his dog outside.
And the dog's
Like,
like,
what the-
sorry, man. I don't know. I mean, I would have taken it for her, but like, I'm out here, man. I can't take the blame, Two things. One, RIP Rocky. He was my dog growing up. There was one time that he would eat the canned dog food, and it didn't agree sometimes. And he like was sitting there. He was real close to my dad, and so he was just like, it didn't even make like a noise. It was just kind of like this shh. And I was like, oh man. And then like I was like, I'm out. Right. I'm out. And then my brother was out, and then my mom was out. And my dad, I think, tried to like fight through it. And he was like, nah, this is, and the dog just sat there with this sad face of, I let you all down today. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, guys. I ate the food. The food was delicious. And I'm sitting here, and you all just seem to be kind of repulsed by me.
I'm an absolute child when it comes to fart humor, and then you one up it when it's dog farts, and like I could laugh all day. But our dogs, Zeke, he is 7 years old. He has had enough experience, but to this day, when he is like laying down and he lets out a little doggy toot, which sounds like a full like human toot, he will jump up and like look at his ass and be like, what the fuck was that? What was that?
I've never seen a big dog do that. I've seen like videos of little dogs. They're like, and the dog's like, hey, what? And it starts like barking like at nothing, because they're just like, it obviously is behind them. So they're like, I see you. And it's like, there's no one there.
It's the best when he's like dead asleep, and then he's just like, what the fuck? He'll like get up from laying down and like stand up and like look around and be like, I am uncomfortable. I don't know what that was.
The paranoia of being a dog has got to be pretty intense, because they can like smell things that are happening like across the street and whatnot. They're God only knows what they're hearing. Like they're hearing conversations on airplanes and like, what is going on? Right? Like, I don't know. I will say this. So I can't help it either. Like fart and poop jokes are funny. There is a line where it gets gross and you're like a little repulsed, but usually it's just
it's
funny.
still funny. Like I don't even care.
I'm a child. I
Yeah.
get it. I'm a child. But there's been this thing where like people record themselves and it's a prank, bro. And like one of the new things is they'll have like a really, I mean, someone's probably like releasing a fart and they record it on like good quality and then like put it in an app or something. So you can hit the button and it sounds like you're ripping, and it's loud because it's coming from a phone, and they'll have a camera set up and they'll be real close to like somebody who's shopping at a Walmart or at CVS or whatever. And it just lets out like this super wet, disgusting sound. And nobody is ever like, are you okay? It's always like, you sick son of a, and like, it's always like borderline of fight, like Chad or Karen's there. Like, my parents have been getting me ready for this moment my entire life. It's just so weird. Like how did we get to like, okay, I gotta get YouTube boobs. So YouTube views. So what I'm gonna do, yeah,
don't put that in your
boobs.
search. Don't put it in there.
I wonder what he's talking about. Oh my god. It's so strange what's accessible to us now. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Like I have to be vigilant, like stop myself, because especially when you work through social media, right? Like you're talking to people and networking and whatever. You could be like, all right, I got to talk to so-and-so, or I need to reply to da da da. And then it turns into, look, it's another cat video, poop joke. Like, oh man. And then one day you go, it's been 75 years.
Yeah.
Where has the time gone?
That's me on TikTok. Like I need to research ideas and then I don't. And I just scroll through.
Yep. Yeah. I avoided TikTok for a reason, and I got one, or I've decided to participate because, people are going to find us through TikTok. And wow, the very first time I signed in, Friends of Failure, whatever, I don't know, 30 minutes went by in the blink of an eye, and I was like, what the? And I set the phone down and like walked away because I was like, this is insane, because people do it all day, every day.
Yeah, I set timers for myself normally. Like this morning before I worked out, I like had coffee, watched like 10 minutes of TikTok, set that limit, and then I like did my other shit. And
there you go.
Put the phone down. And I may have been weak and picked it up later, but I still got all my stuff done.
That's good.
Yeah.
I've been doing that a lot, of like timing and measuring and whatever. Because if you can do it on like little things at first, you can slowly expand to like, everything is kind of prescribed. And I'm not saying you can't live in the moment, but like dictating your time is the greatest wealth you'll ever have.
And you got to take control of it, which is hard. And I think both of us, I don't know whether to call it like addictive or obsessive, but we can fall into that category with certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like whether it's a TV show or even like TikTok or working on this podcast, if it wasn't for like my husband or like I have a job, like things that put limits, I would just be like laser focused on this. So the little timers help, even though it seems kind of silly. It seems silly at first. You're like, I'm putting a 10-minute timer on myself and I probably will snooze it. But once you start to build it, you see that time and you're like, oh, fuck, I said I was going to do this thing and I got to go do it. Yeah.
It's a good reminder too, right? Like it brings you back to the task at hand. And you still, because like with meditation, I have to have a timer going. So I go, hey, don't worry about time. The phone's going to take care of that part. Focus on doing the meditation, right?
Yeah.
And then you apply that to other things. That's one thing that I really, somebody said it in a book probably, but my friend says it a lot of, you need to dictate what you believe in and how you feel and what you're going to do with your time, or someone else is going to do it for you, right? They'll tell you what to believe in. They'll tell you how you're supposed to use your time. The reality is if it was up to TikTok, they'd be like, yeah, all day, every day, you would just be on TikTok. That's what we want. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're not going to choose what you're going to do with your time, can we decide?
They do have that stop, like you've been scrolling too long thing. I fucking hate that guy. Nothing personal, but like
I've never seen it, so I guess I need to.
You're in a good spot. That is no, this is not a goal.
I text you at like 3 a.m. I've been on here for 8 days.
Where is he?
Yeah, I can't find him. Awesome. This was really fun. I think if people, if if we enjoy this, we could keep doing it, right?
We could just do it and post it anyways, and whatever sticks. We could just talk about farts the next episode.
Ooh,
just fill up a whole
episode
hour.
19. It just says thoughts. Thoughts. You have to say it like in a very, I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get there. I did enjoy this. This was kind of a cool change of pace. I mean, I enjoy having our guests, but this is fun too, and I think this is an element that we should keep in here. Yeah. Until one day, like we have like a fan base, and they're like, "Yeah, can we just get rid of the like you two guys, like just one-on-one being friends?
That?
Like, yeah, get out of here with that nonsense."
Your friendship is annoying. We like it when you kind of just talk to other people.
Your poop jokes make me sick. Wow. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't poop. It was just farts, actually.
Yeah.
So.
That's just as bad because it's the the prequel.
Oh my god! Last thing about farts. I saw something, and it was like this girl's boyfriend made a PowerPoint, and it was probably a TikTok. I'll just say video to pretend like it wasn't a TikTok. But he made a thing, and he's like, when you poop a solid, it's called pooping. When you have diarrhea, it's called pooping. But diarrhea is a liquid, and then when you when you fart, which is a gas expelling from your body, all the other things are some form expelling from your body, it's also pooping, right? So when you fart, you're just gas pooping. And that gas was pooping. that logic. He's like, it's all pooping. All along we've classified fart as something else, but it's all pooping.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they smell. Oh god.
I feel like so many people have turned this off. They're like, I did like how they were trying to, break down failure, but then just farts for like 10 minutes, and I don't know.
Oh god, and now they're playing the outro music. And they're like, no, don't end it like this. Right. And you can find us on TikTok.
And it's just fart noises, like.
Oh man. We leaned into it. I'm all about it. But we do have to wrap this up. Because we could probably do this for another 2.5 hours, and we might have some diehard fans out there already that would stick with us. But
when we see the need, we will fulfill it. But for now, for our small little group, we'll just we'll
keep it chill. Hey guys, it's chill. Hey, keep it chill, guys. Chill. Go ahead. Do you want to go ahead and close this out?
Yeah. So on that farty note, you can find us on all social media at Friends of Failure, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of those.
Facebook's a great one. It's the GOAT.
It's I would call it the OG, but not the GOAT.
Yeah, I regretted it as soon as I said it.
Yeah, it is not a GOAT.
It's no Michael Jordan,
And then I'd like to just ask you guys to kind of rate this, follow, subscribe if you want to, but definitely like any reviews or ratings we can get, so we can, see how we're doing, see if you like our regular stuff or our farty stuff. Gotta gauge which way we need to lean. And then our favorite part, we're going to ask you to send in your own failures to good old Ethel, which is our voicemail box. You can call 916-304-3545 and just either anonymously, or if you want to put a name to it, good for you, tell us about a failure or a story. It can be funny or serious. And then same thing goes to our Gmail. You can email us at friendsoffailurepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like maybe if because it's almost like we painted a picture today of like, hey, like this is kind of how the vibe would be, right? Like you can get your story out there, but we don't even have to
Yeah.
We don't have to say who you are or even when it was. It can just be like posted as like a FML, right?
Yeah. Just
And then we get sued by F my life. So I do think that like we kind of set a precedence today, and that it'll be interesting to see any kind of feedback or response. But at the end of the day, if you're listening, thank you so much for your support. Hope you enjoyed the show, right? And of course, I think a very important part, right next to the 2008 Facebook, is life is happening for you, not to you. So go out there and fail.
get out there and fart. Got it.
If it's not I'm stronger than you, it's I'm wiser than you, I'm more loving than you, I'm more tolerant than you, I'm more sophisticated than you. It doesn't matter what it is, but this constant competition is going on. This is the secret. This is the secret. You can't make a mistake.